Linda stood at the window of her corner office, watching the city lights flicker to life as dusk fell. 6 months had passed since Elliott's sudden death, and with him had gone not just 25 years of marriage, but the steady foundation upon which her life and law firm had been built. WW Legal had been their shared dream, she the sharp legal mind, he the strategist and organizer. Now only the work remained. She still handled the legal cases with finesse, her courtroom skills untouched by grief, but everything else, the spreadsheets, staff decisions, budgets, drained her. At 58, she felt like she was treading water in unfamiliar seas. Reinvention wasn't something she'd planned this late in life, and yet it loomed ahead of her like an unavoidable storm. That was when Emma stepped in. The young secretary Elliott had hired just weeks before his passing had initially blended into the background. 28, bright-eyed, and enrolled in night classes for her business degree, Emma had a quiet competence that Linda began to rely on. Gradually, Emma took over the growing mountain of administrative tasks, bringing a calm order to Linda's unraveling professional world. But it wasn't just Emma's efficiency that left an impression, it was her steadiness, her warmth. Her presence became a quiet comfort. Meetings extended into longer conversations, and office hours blurred into shared dinners as they worked late. They grew close in a way neither had anticipated. One evening, as they wrapped up a discussion on restructuring the firm's outdated systems, the elevator broke down, forcing them to take the stairs. In the narrow stairwell, Linda became keenly aware of Emma's nearness, the faint scent of her perfume, the light cadence of her voice as she talked about her final project for school. "We deserve a drink after a day like this," Emma said with a smirk, and without thinking too much, Linda agreed. At a quiet bar just blocks from the office, their roles softened over red wine. Linda laughed more easily than she had in months. She found herself noticing the way Emma spoke with her hands, how her eyes sparkled when she was passionate about something. And then came the guilt. The weight of her wedding ring, now just a memory etched in gold, felt heavier than ever. "You don't have to carry the world alone," Emma whispered, her hand brushing Linda's. Her voice was soft, but it pierced through Linda's armor. The next week, during a critical court hearing, Linda glanced toward the gallery and saw Emma watching her, eyes filled with something deeper than admiration. That look rattled her. Her voice wavered, just briefly, in the middle of her argument. She recovered quickly, but the moment lingered. Then came Friday. The office was quiet, almost deserted, but Linda and Emma were still buried in paperwork. The soft hum of the city outside their windows was the only sound. Linda was reviewing files when Emma approached her desk, hesitating slightly. "I can't pretend anymore," Emma said, her voice barely above a whisper. "I know this may not be the right time, maybe it's not even smart, but every time you walk into a room, I just can't stop thinking about you." Linda's heart pounded. The loneliness she had buried under work, the grief she had tucked away, suddenly, it all surfaced. She stood slowly, walking around the desk until she was face to face with Emma. For once, she allowed herself to forget the labels. Not a widow, not a partner in a law firm, just a woman, tired of mourning, tired of surviving, ready to feel again. Their kiss started gently, tentative and uncertain. Emma's hands trembled as they found Linda's face. Something inside Linda cracked, and the emotional walls she had so carefully constructed since Elliott's death gave way. She pulled Emma closer, surrendering to a moment that felt terrifying yet real. When they finally parted, breathless and wide-eyed, Emma rested her forehead against Linda's. Her fingers lingered in Linda's hair, grounding them in that fragile but electric space between fear and hope. "I'm scared," Linda whispered. Her voice was low, thick with emotion she hadn't dared name. Emma smiled, just a little. "So am I," she said, "but I think this might be worth the risk." In the quiet of that office, with the world bustling outside, Linda didn't have all the answers. She didn't know what the next step would look like, but for the first time in months, she didn't feel lost. And maybe, just maybe, that was enough to begin again.